Hello again, all you amazing people out there. It's Jerry K with another episode of Walking and Talking with Jerry K. So come on and walk with me. Let's get some steps in. So when I was thinking about what today's topic was going to be, I talked to my wife and I was like, hon, I'm going to go for my walk and not sure what I should talk about. And she said, I should talk about motivation. And I was like, well, what aspect? And she goes, finding it, keeping it, staying motivated, understanding, what motivation is really about. And I said, okay, you know what? And it's funny because I don't talk nearly enough about my wife on these and the significant impact and influence that she's had on my life in such a positive way. But I thought that was a very good suggestion. So I'm going to talk about motivation. And I think one of the number one keys when it comes to aspects of being motivated to do whatever it is you're going to do is identifying your why. And that's a very simple way of basically saying, what's the reason behind what you want to accomplish? Even wanting to make $1 million. Now, people have a reason that they want to make $1 million. Now, it's going to be different for everybody. It's funny. Motivation is a lot like a fingerprint. They differ for every person. Because what might motivate one person to do something could be exactly the opposite for somebody else. So you need to identify your why. The reason that you're motivated. I'll give you an example that I'll circle back because this has to do with my wife. So one of the reasons that I'm doing these daily walks is because of a motivation that I have to keep myself in as good a shape as possible so I can be around as long as possible to enjoy my wife and I. That's basically what the deal is. So I basically keep her in the back of my mind as far as the reason that I'm doing the things that I do. She's a big part of that. Why? Because she's such an integral and important part of my life. So it would only make sense to me to be able to basically be my best self to help ensure that I can be around as long as possible to influence her life in a positive way. That's one of my biggest motivators. It's funny, my love for her motivates me to want to care for her, protect her. And it's funny because some people think a man protecting a woman or caring for a woman is because he thinks she's weak. Irony is, it's just the opposite. There's nothing to do with that. If anything, it's just the opposite. I don't want to protect my wife because I think she's weak. I want to protect my wife because she's important. It has nothing to do with her capabilities. It has to do with me seeing her in a light that she's a very, very important person to me. So obviously I would want to protect her as much as I could. I want to make sure that she's safe. I want to make sure that she's provided for. I want to make sure that she's protected. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy, but she's one of my whys. I identified that a long time ago. So that is going to be one of the biggest things when it comes to motivation is you need to identify your why. Because without understanding why, you don't have that driving force behind you. And if I'm going to tell you something. It's easier to be behind a driving force than be in front of it. Because that force will push you when you don't necessarily want to do it yourself. And it can be helpful to have that. So I think the number one thing about motivation is identifying your why. And then what you need to do is once you get motivated and you understand what your why is, you need to set some goals, that are realistic. You need to be able to identify and look at everything, the situation, and say, okay, like for me with these walks, okay, well, if I'm going to keep myself in better shape, I've identified that me taking a daily 2-mile walk is one of the ways that I can get the physical activity needed in order to maintain the weight loss that I've experienced since we went through this whole, health scare and transformation that we've gone through. So I identified my goal, which was to keep myself in the shape that I am now in as a result of this, transformation. And one of the ways that I could do it was take a walk. I actually enjoy walking. I love nature, so I get to get out here. I'm in the midst of nature, and I walk through this every day, and I see all sorts of cool stuff, man. Recently there were some baby rabbits that were born, so I've been seeing these little baby rabbits running around. I see lizards and giant grasshoppers and snakes and all sorts of birds. Actually, as I was walking earlier, there's a beautiful cardinal that was just right in front of me, and I appreciate those things because I'm willing to kind of pay attention to them. I'm not forgetting the importance of appreciating my environment and the beauty that is around me. And I think that's something else that people need to appreciate things, because that again is going to help as far as motivation is concerned. You got to find what motivates you. I don't like walking on a treadmill, but I like walking. Why? I don't know. There's something about standing on a treadmill, not going anywhere, going through the motions, but not actually going anywhere. It just doesn't resonate as much with me. And what's funny is there's other people that are the exact polar opposite. For them, they don't want to walk through the jungle. They don't want bugs flying around and everything. They would much rather be on that treadmill. And that's why I said motivation is different for every single person. And that's why you need to identify what motivates you and what your motivation actually is, so that then you can pursue it. Because again, it's different for everybody. And the biggest thing is identifying what those differences are and then embracing them so you can make the most out of the things that are motivating you. So again, setting those goals. The reason that it's important is because it's one thing to be motivated, okay? But if you're motivated, but you're not motivated to actually do anything specific, your motivation is going to become faltered. It's gonna flounder, and you're not gonna accomplish anything. You're not gonna do anything. So this is one of the ways that you definitely can. Again, motivation is different for every person, but the reality is, in this life, we look for far too many outside influences to kind of guide our way. I'm gonna tell you, to me, motivation, that's one of those internal things that you need to kind of connect with and be able to run with. But it comes from in here. It's not an outside force. It's not an outside force. There might be outside influences, like my wife, but I basically took my desire to be here for her, and that is the thing that's motivated me to do the things I'm actually doing. So in your daily life, if you've got something that's motivating you, hey, you know what? First and foremost, identify what that thing is. Identify your why. What is it that you're doing this for? What is it that's the reason behind the motivation? Then set yourself some goals so you know kind of how you're doing as far as the pursuit of that goal and the motivation that's driving you forward. And then once you achieve that one, make yourself some new goals. That's the thing. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. Life is a journey. From the day that you're born to the day that you die, it's a journey. So I'm gonna recommend, look for those motivations that will help you drive through to the positive aspects of your journey. Doesn't mean you won't experience some negative ones, but it happens in life. But really embrace and appreciate the good ones, and you'll find that life can be just a little bit better, especially if you have the proper motivations. So I hope everybody's doing fantastic. Have a great rest of your day. Get out there, get your steps in, drink plenty of water. We got great things happening with New You. Please like, subscribe, do all those things that we know we need you to. And until the next video, you take care, and we'll catch you soon.